I am here with Bert Oliva. My name is Ari Gronich, and we are talking about pivoting and making the most of your life during this COVID era. Bert Oliva is a good friend of mine. He's a leadership and behavior expert for over 20 plus years. He's been on stages with thousands and thousands of people, runs with his wife a nonprofit that helps with um, human trafficking, and he is also a social media expert. So we're going to be discussing the pivot. What are you going to do in order to make the COVID era the best year yet? So Bert, can you tell them a little bit about your background and why you're talking to them?
Well, number one, I'm talking to them because of you. No, because you asked me to come in here and I said, sure, let's do this. That's a good example of collaboration. It's time to collaborate. But before I go into giving you guys some of ideas and things that you should be doing, let me go ahead. I've been doing seminars for over 26 years all over the world when it comes to leadership and human behavior. That's my main focus. However, we have been doing social media for quite a bit of time now, and we tie it in a little different because we actually apply leadership skills and human behavior within social media. I think it's really important that right now a lot of people reach out and collaborate with other creators, even people in your own industry. Forget about competition. There's a thing called co-opetition, working together. And this is the time that those that work together with other people and collaborate are the ones that are going to succeed.
Absolutely. So how can somebody you know dismiss the fear and start living the passionate life that they really want during this particular time? Because a lot of people are out of work, not going to be able to go back to the same job that they've had, not going to be able to go back to the same work that they've done, but they may be passionate about something. They may have a hobby that they're really interested in, and they want to get started on creating that life now versus in 10 or 20 years when they may retire, right? So,
It's really simple, though, really simple. Ready? This is the recipe. Stop consuming social media and start creating. Because everyone's on social media. The problem is that most people are just consuming information. That will bring in fear. That'll bring in doubt. But you have all these fabulous ideas and things that you know that people want to hear or people want to get into your product or service, whatever the case is. You have all these great ideas, but you're spending so much time in consuming information and not creating that all you have is a dream. You know, the best dream happens when a person takes action, but not just consuming information. So you want to go ahead and get away from fear, make sure you schedule your time for that fear, right? Like I tell people, go ahead and say, okay, I'm going to go ahead and wake up in the morning and look and see what's going on, with the coronavirus and all this stuff. Let's go ahead and see what's going on, but only for like 30 minutes. Turn it off. Don't look at it again till the end of the day, and go into creating your best life. Go into creating all these great ideas and make them actually really come alive. Not in here, but actually like what you're doing right now. At the end of the day, consume enough information to be in the know, and then stop it and move on with your day or your life and make things happen.
all right. So if somebody was like, say, passionate about some hobby, right? And they wanted to get started now because they're out of business, what would be some of the first steps to doing that? So,
Okay, I don't know about hobbies, but what I'm saying is this: look, why don't you do an inventory? Inventory in your business. What is it in my business that I could start doing online? Because whether you're online or not, or you're earning money online or not, is inevitable. You need to do it because it's the new norm, right? Everyone's got online. The only thing this coronavirus has done when it comes to social media or digital platform, like what we're doing right now, it's pushed us 5 years ahead of time. We were going to be there eventually, but now we were forced to be here. So start thinking, what is it that I have and all this knowledge, all these years of experience, like yourself, you know, you're one of the best, and for lack of better words for me, but probably you're the best chiropractor I've ever had in my life. You know, in 2 seconds, you did this one thing that even from my toes all the way to my last hair on the top, snapped, right? However, at the end of the day, how can you put that online? What is it that I can give out there, give value? And also remember this, don't go thinking about what product or service I can sell online, because that you're going to fail immediately. Go out there and say, what value can I give? Value driven. The more value you give, what happens is this: when you give people a ton of value, they don't want to buy your product or service. They want to buy access to you. And once you've done that in your mind and you figured that out, that's when you become successful.
So what I'm hearing is you say, express your passion and be consistent about how you do that. And then that builds followers, collaborators, partners.
And find your vehicle. Add to that, you need to find a vehicle. What's your vehicle? What's your vehicle of choice, right? Like a lot of people will go ahead and buy the latest iPhone. And, you know, it's supposed to be a smartphone. Phone is only a person that has it. So at the end of the day, you have an iPhone. They spend $1,200, $1,500 for the phone, and they only use it to look at their social media and maybe do some texting. Why buy that phone? When I know people that I know that are creators and they do it with a phone that costs them $300. They don't have the same video quality, but you know what? At least they're doing it. 6 months later, they don't buy the latest phone. They don't have camera equipment. They evolve because they were doing it. You can only learn by doing things.
Right. That's like me with digital technology and social media. I've watched videos on how to build a website. I've, you know, watched marketing. I've taken classes. I've been in seminars on marketing and so on. And I know the theories, I know the concepts, but when I actually get down to the doing of it, it takes me 100 hours to do what somebody else can do in one. And
that's fine. That's fine. But look, how many shows have you done so far?
I've done about 5 or 6 of these shows.
So you've done 6 of them, right?
Yeah.
Now remember, you have all this knowledge. You're starting to take action on the knowledge. Be honest with me. Is this the easiest one you've ever done out of the first 6?
It's not easy, but it's easier. Yeah. I mean,
that's what I said. It's easier than the first one you did. Well, imagine after you've done 60 shows.
And that's meant and emotionally easy.
It's also muscle memory. Now you know how to turn on the camera. Now you know where the lighting has to be. Now you know if the microphone is working. Now you know how to go live on Facebook, right? So now imagine do 60 shows. Imagine when you've done 150 shows and now you have 100,000 followers. People will come to you and say, Ari, you know what? You're so lucky. You worked, you studied, you put all the information in your mind, and now you decided to take action.
Right.
That's how you see.
So during that ramp up, the emotional is what really tends to stop people. I know that stopped me a lot. I grew up in Hollywood and never liked myself on camera, never let anybody take pictures of me. I've recently lost 140 pounds. I feel a little bit better now, but I still look at myself and go, you know, maybe I should grow a beard like that to cover up the double chin, or
you can't see my double chin.
So, you know, the emotional side of starting something new. Let's address some of that.
Emotion creation. Emotion creates emotion, right? So at the end of the day, part of the reason that the emotion starts affecting you is because you're not moving around. You're sitting still. As soon as you move around, and you know this because you've taught me some of this stuff. My back hurts, you know. Every day, Bert, why don't you start this instead of this? You know, if you move in a different direction and you focus in a different direction, you will feel different. You know, like, what's your cycle in the morning? What cycle do you have? What ritual? You know, what routine? Oh, I used to have a routine. I used to wake up at 6 in the morning and then get prepared, brush my teeth, go ahead, go to the gym, work out for 2 hours. Okay, so you're telling me that the pandemic changed the routine, or you've allowed it to change your routine? Well, that's your first mistake. I still wake up at 6 in the morning. I still work out. I don't go to the gym. I've created a makeshift gym in the backyard to at least get my mind thinking that I'm still where I was. I'm still following my goal. I'm still focused. Most people have allowed this thing to happen, and they're like, you know what? It's just going to take me one day. I'll just go ahead and take 2 days off, 3 days off. Now, what happened to their routine? They wake up at 10 in the morning, at 11 in the morning. When you wake up at 11 in the morning, you now feel like crap just because you know you used to wake up at 6. You're not working out. So now you're like, okay, I'm gaining a little more weight. You know, now you get it starts working against you. You know, motion creates emotion. Move. There's a thing in Spanish, if you like beans, they're called Goya beans. You know, Goya means get off your asses and move. Create a move, right? Don't wait for it to happen.
So why don't you talk a little bit about how Make It Happen got established in 1994? What was the pivot that you were doing when you decided to make it happen? And how is that, you know, similar to what somebody can do now?
Well, we're all the same. Nothing that we've learned from the masters of self-help, which to me, they were Dale Carnegie, Napoleon Hill, Norman Vincent Peale. Those were the guys that really created this whole mindset for me. That's what I've learned for years, and those are the guys I used to study. And I remember I used to work for Xerox Corporation. And at Xerox Corporation, they taught us how to become the best salespeople in the world. You know, we used to go up to Leesburg, Virginia, where they had, I would call it a compound, but it was really like their college, right? So you'd walk in and you would go ahead and take a course. They would actually keep you there for a week or over a weekend, and you would do the course. You were not allowed to leave the campus. And if it was raining or snowing, it didn't matter, because from your dorm, the only way you can get knowledge, I mean, the only way you, even if it was raining, from the dorm, they had underground tunnels to the classrooms. So they said, you have to be there at 7 in the morning. If you weren't there, they would lock the door and you would miss that session. So I learned a lot, and I got turned on by, back in the day, I remember seeing Zig Ziglar and Jim Rohn and you know, all these greats, Brian Tracy, and I'm like, man, I would love to do this one day. You know, I wanna be able to do this. And I remember Les Brown, and one thing I learned from was, you know, every time people would do the same thing, I would leave the place, and then I would always ask myself, how? Well, he told me, Bert, how is none of your business. That's what holds you back. So I started saying, well, you know what? Back in the day, there was only two markets for motivational seminars or empowerment. It was Anglo whites and Black Americans. You know, you had T.D. Jakes, you had Les Brown, you had Tony Robbins, Jim Rohn. There was no space for a Latino guy called Bert Oliva. I said, perfect. And that's where it all started happening.
That's good. That's kind of what I've been telling you to do anyway.
I guess the pandemic heard you, and I said, hey, let's go ahead and stop Bert.
Yes, yes. You know, Jim Rohn had a saying, and I don't know if it was his saying or somebody else's, but it's something that I remember a lot when I'm in the middle of a reaction. And the saying is, don't wish it were easy, wish you were better. And that has stuck with me. I've kind of watched that video where he says that like 30 or 40 times, because it's something for me, I need to remember. You know, I always want things to be easy. Most people want things to be easy, but that saying, don't wish it were easy, wish you were better, has sparked that wish and that will for me to become active, to become movement, to take action, like you've said, and create what I want to create. Because in my world, you know, a bully is only a bully because of the silence of others. So we need to get loud. We need to get active. We need to activate ourselves and those around us that believe in the same things that we believe in, so that we can shut down the bullies, right? So, or change the system. My other great favorite saying is, we made this shit up, We can make it up differently. How do we want to make it up? And let's start doing the things that it's going to take to get there. So it sounds like in 1994, you had a similar kind of realization that what you say, what you think is going to affect how your day's going to go. So if you're going to be in charge of how your life happens, you've got to be the one to make it happen.
Right. The choices are there. You can either become a victim of life or a victor. Every single day. Every time you wake up and you walk out that door, you have choices. Even when you wake up, what's the first thought process that comes into your mind? Once it comes into your mind, shift it. It's not something you want to be thinking about, right? Because think about this. When people get into self-help, this is not a sprint. This is a marathon. You have to work it. What's the difference with a person that's just got into self-help and a person that's been doing it for 20, 30 years? Pretty much their thought process, their belief system, all these things. However, do they get upset? Yes. Do they get depressed? Of course. We're all human. It just doesn't last that long, right? A person that doesn't have the tools will be depressed for a year, a month, a week for something really dumb. A person that's been working on themselves, their mindset, their body, their eating habits, they get upset. What would last a year for that person may last 2 hours for this person. 30 minutes. They change their state. They collapse certain anchors. Why? They've studied it. So what it is you start getting better and better. And that's when luck comes in, right? Being in the right place at the right time. But being in the right place at the right time and not having the right tools, you're back to not being lucky. That's why you got to work on yourself. This is why you said in the beginning of the show, I've been studying social media and digital programs and all this stuff for years or for a long time. You know, I didn't even think this for a long time. Well, guess what? That's why it's become easier to you, even though you may think it's difficult compared to someone like us that we have a whole team that does it. That's fine. But I guarantee you there's a ton of other people that can't even get the software installed, right? So you're that far ahead. That's what you got to look at and be happy that you get celebrate. Celebrate everything that you do. Reward yourself by saying, you know what, after this interview, not before the interview, right? And that's another thing. People reward themselves way too soon. Celebrate yourself. I'm going to celebrate for you that you've done 6 already. I want to come back on your maybe 25th, or actually 21, since I love the number 21. 21 days to change. When you're ready for 21, I want to come back and look at the difference that you've created in just a few sessions or a few shows.
And this is a really great time to reinvent yourself and to start living your passion. You know, that pivot that I talk about, and we're kind of coming towards the end of our call. So I want to kind of bring us back to that pivot. This is a really good time to create what you're passionate about and to pivot yourself into a new place with new life and vitality. You know, for me, I've been a therapist and a trainer for 25 years. I've worked on some of the most elite athletes in the planet, and actors, actresses, in Hollywood. And I've been pivoting for the last year and a half towards more education. I've authored a couple books and courses, and been doing more consulting work and speaking. That's been my pivot. But this particular time has been a great time for me to refocus on that and start putting out in the world who I am and what I want to do. And so, for the audience, how can they do that in a effective, at least it's going to be frustrating at times because they're doing something new and different. But if they have that vitality and interest, right? And so you've talked about state changes. So how does somebody go when they're frustrated in the process of doing this pivot how do they state change when they have never heard that term before?
Oh, that would take another interview because there's a process there, and we can't talk about it in 10 minutes because I got to go. But what I do, you just said something very change in their life. They're doing their pivoting point, right? This is the moment, or calling turning point, whatever you want to call it. But at the end of the day, this is when you're gonna create the shift. Why would you get depressed and disappointed? Why not think about being excited? Think about when you first drove your first car. For those people that drive cars, the first time you drove your car, your parents were probably telling you, or whoever was your caretaker was like, "Oh my God, make sure you put the foot on the brake. Make sure you did this." And you're like, "I got this. I got this." You're all excited. This is the same thing. Wake up excited. There's going to be some obstacles. There are going to be some fender benders. There's going to be some things that you're going to just, I didn't know there was a stop sign there, and I'll figure it out as I go. But at the end of the day, it's exciting. Wake up with that excitement. And then even though those obstacles happen, cool. Like I tell my children, and I've told a lot of people, become a straight student, fail fast forward, and then you'll figure it out. Right? Make sure you move on. And Les Brown taught me years ago. He said, "Bert, you're going to fall down. And when you fall, make sure you land on your back, because if you can look up, you can get up." So just keep those things in mind. So before I go, a couple of things I want to say. Number one, if you want to go to my free webinar, all you have to do is direct message me on your preferred social media, Bert Oliva. Direct message me, and we'll send you a link. So you can actually choose the date, and it's absolutely free. And then, Ari, thank you so much. Love you, brother. Thank you for the opportunity, and hopefully looking forward to your 21st show where I'm going to be there again. And I just want to leave you guys. My name is Bert Oliva, Cuban born, American made. Remember to live life and don't let life live you. I will see you guys real soon. Thank you, Ari.